A 4-day intense search ended Thursday afternoon when police surrounded the Park Manor apartment building. Officers had spotted Ricky Cowboy Lewis inside. They knocked on the third-floor apartment door, but Lewis would not answer. That's when the emergency response team was called in. While a police negotiation team was talking to the suspect, the tactical unit was making its move behind the apartment building. That was a concussion grenade to distract the suspect. The ERT moved in, and in minutes, the man charged with capital murder, 3 counts of first-degree murder, and arson was in custody. Bystanders cheered.
That don't make no sense what he did. You know, I mean, go around torturing people like that, you know. He need to get all he can get. You know, he need to run into the worst judge in Norfolk.
And the aunt of 3 dead children wept.
No, my baby's dead!
A week ago, Kevin, Kavina, and Thomas Moore and their cousin Sparkle Arrington died when their home was torched. With Lewis and co-defendant Milvin Burwell in custody, the community is demanding that justice be served. He could face the death penalty.
Well, that's probably what he needs.
Let him get it.
He took away 4 people's lives, and death penalty fits it.
It was an anonymous tip from a citizen that led police to the Park Manor building. Veteran officers say the support from the public has been something they've never seen before.
I want to thank the citizens that come out to support the police department in their efforts today. It's been a long afternoon, but we certainly appreciate it.
The community support was gratifying for the men who stormed the building at a time when police are under heavy scrutiny.
It was awesome, Regina. We got to go.
From Norfolk, Regina Mobley, News 3.
6 acres of tires caught on fire shortly after 9 o'clock last night, forcing closure of the main route between the 2 cities. Fireballs were jumping 100 feet into the air at midnight, and the intense heat felt like a July afternoon on the beach. At a distance of 100 yards, the heat was drying the skin of firefighters from 6 communities who rushed to help the Wakefield Volunteer Unit battle the blaze. It wasn't so much a battle as a containment. Firefighters knew they would never put it out. They just hoped they could keep it confined to the yard where the old tires were stored. And it is a large pile of old tires.
The pile of tires has been estimated to perhaps have as many as 500,000 tires in it. We have a fire that, at this point in time, the fire departments don't believe they can put out, so they are attempting to contain it. They have been able to save the building that was immediately adjacent to the pile of tires, and at this point in time, it looks like we're simply going to have to let it burn itself out.
The entire community rallied to the emergency. Geraldine Bradshaw has been following her husband to fires for 30 years. This is a first.
We've had some bad ones, but I don't believe it's been quite as bad as this. Not as many people called in here.
As daybreak arrives, the tired firefighters will begin another battle, this time to keep the toxic runoff out of the stream that eventually feeds the Blackwater River. Firefighters say they don't know how long this will burn. Estimates range from days to weeks. Highway 460 will be closed for at least 48 hours. Ken Blackwell, News 3, Wakefield.
Labor Day weekend, 1991. A New York family was on the way home from an Outer Banks vacation. Lots of fun. Then screeching metal, screaming children, and a 16-year-old's life hangs in the balance. Labor Day weekend, and Richie McGee is leading his sister's families home to New York from North Carolina's Outer Banks. By the time they hit Chesapeake, the kids were napping in the camper.
We were together, we were having a great time. Who knew? Who knew such so much fun would end in such havoc?
All of a sudden I heard like this big boom, like a gun was shot or something.
It was the camper's rear tire, a blowout.
Mom?
Been a bad accident. Over on
curb. It's a bad accident on the curb. Get us some help over here.
Captain Bob Hogue was shift commander for Chesapeake's Emergency Services, and he was home for the holiday.
EMS 2, be advised of a possible accident with injuries at Centerville and Land of Promise. I'll be responding to investigate.
Neighbors rushed to help the 3 children, but Maureen screamed about her 4th child, who she calls her baby.
Zone box 604, the 1500 block of South Centerville Turnpike. Vehicle overturned, several subjects lying in the roadway. Medic 7, engine 6 respond.
Rescuers found her. 16-year-old Jennifer Purcell, Maureen's firstborn, was trapped under the cab of the camper. They couldn't reach her.
Need some more people. Come on, let's get together on this thing. Ready? Go! Go!
I have no idea exactly where we all got that much strength because it is an old truck and it was very hard to lift.
Captain Hogue immediately began an assessment.
She really looked bad. You know, I thought there wasn't going to be any chance for survival. She was crushed by the 1-ton pickup that was sitting on her chest all the way up to her head.
I got 3 people hurt right here. We're still assessing right now. Okay. Check them out, Tom.
Michelle and little Jillian had isolated injuries. Their brother Nick just scrapes.
She's still not breathing.
But all of them panicked when they heard that Jennifer wasn't breathing.
I was thinking that she wouldn't be there. But when we got back to New York,
I just figured this is it. Yeah, this is it. She's not going to make it.
She's got something in her mouth.
So okay.
Let's go ahead and log roll her over.
Let's go ahead and roll over on. We need to get this off of her.
Step off of her. Okay, she's breathing.
She is breathing?
Yeah, she's breathing. She's okay.
Okay, Jennifer, honey, it's oxygen.
That was a pretty good feeling from one of despair to, you know, her being alive and awake.
It's okay, Jennifer.
It's okay. That's a girl. That's a girl.
And I heard them say, she's breathing, she's going, and, you know, just thank you, God. Thank you.
Just fine. You're just great.
Just going to go up.
Ready to lift? Lift.
Let's go.
Jennifer wasn't out of the woods, not by a long shot, but now she had a chance.
Being so close to Captain Hogue's residence, and he happened to be on the scene, without him being there at that time, her chances were probably very slim, never being able to survive it. But that one thing, I'll always remember that.
Jennifer was airlifted by Nightingale to Centera Norfolk General Hospital. She was in bad shape. One eye had been forced into her head. She had broken bones and a brain hemorrhage. But you'd never know any of that today. Now Jennifer's a beautiful young woman who never had a chance to thank her rescuers. So we thought we'd help her out.
I just have a little something for each of you. Just, you know, a little appreciation.
Thank you all very much for saving my daughter.
Jennifer can see, she can walk, and there's no sign of brain damage from the time that she was unable to breathe. These people are literally her lifesavers.
Thank you.
Well, all this week, we've watched the pictures of a changing Russia.
Channel 3 reporter Bruce Berry and photographer John McNulty followed Operation Smile on this, its first mission to Russia.
Now, Bruce, all of us at this desk would admit that on any story in television, it's the reporter that, you know, gets all of the credit, but all of us at this desk also know that it's the person behind the camera and that person in the editing room. Would I be correct?
I think even more correct on a story like this. Really, it's true. There's a lot of work involved, and I want you to meet the guy who did it in this case, the guy who took all those pictures, photographer John McNulty. I've asked John to tell me what he was thinking when he was taking all of the wonderful pictures you've seen this week. And what he talked about on his mission to Russia with love was faces.
The babushka is the face of yesterday, but will always be in the memory of the face of today.
Sing some more for us.
Babushka is Mother Russia. I've always taken very tight shots of faces because you can tell more in a person's face than you can tell in their speech patterns or even, you know, anything that they say. Orally you can say one thing, but your face will always say another, and that's where the truth is. Hey? They're just so cute. That's the thing that makes them special. It's the first trip I've ever been on, and it's driving me nuts because one day it's crazy and hectic, and the next day it'll go ahead and tear your heart apart. She stood out from all the other kids, and it wasn't because of her deformity. It was her personality. Once you saw Victoria and had a feeling of who she was, you never saw her face anymore. You saw her heart. When you see the children before the operations and the deformities, the ugliness, and then you watch the procedure, and then afterwards you see
when you called out the vitals,
faces that have been changed forever.
Barry's doing.
And those weren't the only faces that were changed forever. You see the families, the mothers and the fathers that come in total disbelief. You're taught one thing when you're growing up. There's always a constant threat from the Red Empire, that evil empire that President Reagan referred to them as. And then you go over there and you find out that none of that is true. It's an enlightening experience. It brought home the main thing that the people are really, when it comes right down to it, they're pretty good.
Thank you.
Well, I think you have an idea, maybe, of why the pictures of Operation Smile in Russia were so special. John, it was a privilege traveling with you.
Edenton is famous for its colonial houses, not a falling down baseball grandstand of the 1930s. Wallace Evans and his committee wants to add Hicks Field, a 1939 minor league baseball park, to the National Register of Historic Places.
This is the only facility of this nature that has been preserved up to this point. It's still standing in the state of North Carolina, the old Class D list.
When professional baseball really was the national pastime, big cities did not have a monopoly on the pro game. In the 40s and 50s, North Carolina had a team in almost every little town. Edenton wants to save the very last ballpark of that era.
Not only to preserve it as a historic site, but also preserve it to be used as a playing facility for the future.
I come, Brad. Come on, BJ.
Edenton's high school aces share the field now with some famous names of the past.
Roger Craig just recently retired from San Francisco Giants. White forward, played some games when he was originally started back, I believe, with the North Tars.
Hall of Fame pitcher Jim Catfish Hunter and the brothers Jim and Gaylord Perry played with visiting high school teams. But it is the minor league legends that played for peanuts that make this a baseball shrine.
Back then, the guys were probably making $50 a week.
Local legends like Gashouse Parker.
He was the Babe Ruth, I would say, of the old Albemarle League.
Edenton wants to save legends like this.
We've got a plan, master plan that's been drawn, and it really has a price tag about $350,000, but we feel very, very confident that this can be done.
This old ballpark has a lot of memories, and some of them are ours. In the early 1950s, a raw young play-by-play announcer for a visiting team worked out of this park, and the sign-off then would have been Bob West saying so long from Hicks Field in Edenton. For 4 years, dedicated volunteers have tried to keep the Spanish Mustangs and the new residents with green grass lawns separated. It's been a losing cause. The big losers are the horses.
In the last 4 years since the Horse Fund was founded, we've lost a total of 15.
Rowena Dorman, one of the ramrods of the Horse Sanctuary volunteers, helps maintain a rolling patrol to monitor the wild herd in the middle of the building boom.
In the last year we lost 2 fillies and one little 1.5-year-old stud.
The count now is 22 horses and thousands of cars.
These 2 young boys right here, they've been going down south. They've been going all the way into Duck.
This 10-mile migration has brought about the inevitable. moving the horses out of the densely populated places where swimming pools and progress don't mix with Mother Nature.
There are a few people who are unhappy that the horses have chosen their lawns to make their treat for the day.
This day we find 2 of the 3 branches of the herd, and all are very quiet.
They probably moved around a lot last night because of thunderstorms scaring them, and so now they're all just resting and having a good old siesta day.
The dilemma of the horses and the newcomers may soon have a compromise solution when they are moved north into an area without paved roads.
They'll have 15,000 acres of public and private lands to roam on.
From here you can see where the horses had free range to the south of the lighthouse. And you can see to the north where they will be safe, separated from you and me.
The people are going to keep coming, the crowds are going to continue growing, and if we want the horses to last, we've got to separate them. There's no other choice.
Some choices are very difficult. Bob West, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
He gave his life as a ransom to 2 kidnappers, not just for his family, but for each of you as well, in order to teach us all a valuable lesson in love. We of Manor High School stand here today.
A friend is someone who understands your past, believes in your future, and accepts you today, just the way you are.
And here is how to measure it. The greatest love is shown when a person lays down his life for his friends. I ask one thing of you all, not to think of Wayne as a victim, but as a hero, a man of great courage and great valor.
Take care, little brother, and God bless you.